Welcome to Locanuku.com. Imagine deploying a fully autonomous AI agent to interface with a high-value enterprise client. It seems incredibly efficient, right up until the model hallucinates mid-conversation. Picture this. It fabricates a binding contract clause that simply does not exist, and instantly, your organization is legally liable for a promise pulled completely out of thin air. This exact scenario perfectly illustrates the standard technology hype cycle. Driven by executive fear of missing out, organizations mandate immediate AI integration, pushing their operations straight up to the peak of inflated expectations without installing any programmatic constraints. In the language services sector, this lack of constraint collides with another massive problem, an underlying reliance on obsolete translation management systems. For decades, legacy translation software was built on the single-sentence paradigm. To maximize processing speed, these systems intentionally fractured documents, stripping text out of its natural environment and feeding isolated snippets to the translator. Let's say you send an AI a single, isolated word from a software interface, like the word return, without letting it see the actual screen. The model predictably translates it as returning a purchased item for a financial refund, completely unaware that it was supposed to be a navigational back button. Large language models operate as pattern matching engines. If you feed them isolated, contextless data from legacy systems, they will simply guess to fill the void. This guarantees a garbage in, garbage out result, transforming expensive AI deployments into massive enterprise liabilities. To understand how to actually control these models, we have to look under the hood. We have to see how modern machines attempt to map context mathematically. Visualizing how neural networks digest information is fascinating. They do not read words. Instead, they use an encoder-decoder architecture to compress language into mathematical coordinates called vectors. Words with similar semantic meanings cluster tightly together in this physical space. The glowing lines connecting these distant clusters represent the attention mechanism. The machine actively calculates scores to determine which surrounding words are the most critical, deciphering the true intent, regardless of how far apart related words are. And as we map out these concepts, a quick reminder that you are listening to Locanuku.com, your daily dose of localization know-how. Back in 2017, a research paper titled "Attention is All You Need" introduced the transformer architecture built specifically to solve machine translation tasks. Transformers dismantle the old word-by-word sequential processing by engineering the ability to process massive amounts of nonlinear context simultaneously across entire paragraphs. This architecture laid the groundwork for the generative AI explosion. But looking back at our hype cycle, plugging raw, unconstrained large language models directly into enterprise software plunges organizations straight into the trough of disillusionment. Reality sets in. Sending proprietary data to free AI APIs exposes companies to severe data leaks. Attempting to force-feed massive glossaries to an LLM creates volatile token consumption costs, and the old standard of relying on fuzzy matches from a database is suddenly too slow to compete. Surviving this trough requires abandoning basic graphical user interfaces. Localization professionals must now deploy Python to script custom API middleware, placing strict programmatic boundaries around the AI. The solution is a move away from unpredictable standalone chatbots. Instead, engineers are building deterministic agentic workflows. These rely on the React paradigm, instructing the machine to reason, act, and observe before generating any final output. Let's look at an actual pipeline. The first stage is a translation agent. It ingests source text and handles the initial translation. But we don't publish that draft. The output is intercepted by a terminology agent, whose only job is to cross-reference and enforce corporate glossaries. Finally, it hits the quality agent, evaluating the output against semantic criteria. It acts as the ultimate gatekeeper, deciding instantly whether to automatically publish the text or route it to a human editor. By chaining these specialized agents together, we strictly constrain the logic of the language model. We transform unpredictable text generators into secure, high-scale production engines with autonomous agents. Evaluating content with rigid parity checks is obsolete. Evaluating translation quality by checking if a source comma matches a target comma produces an excessive amount of false positives in a generative system. The industry is pivoting to a fit-for-purpose model for the 70% of low-traffic enterprise content like forum posts, massive legal footers, and deep archives. Agentic workflows provide accurate, automated translations that do the job. and we are finally solving the context problem through multimodality. By utilizing models with vision capabilities, we can feed UI screenshots directly into the workflow. The AI actually sees the software, analyzing the visual hierarchy to translate ambiguous navigation buttons flawlessly. This multimodality extends seamlessly to audio. Cascaded workflows now combine automated transcription, rapid voice cloning, and neural speech synthesis. They process complex video files and output localized audio that maintains the deep, authentic, emotional resonance of the original speaker. This level of automation does not eliminate the human linguist. By offloading the massive scale of commodity content to the machine, human talent is freed from tedious error checking. Translators are upcycled to act as strategic artists on the top 30% of critical, high-revenue brand messaging. Engineering context-aware workflows while elevating human creativity allows localization teams to take full responsibility for a brand's global output, managing every piece of content from its initial creation through to its final multimodal publication. Keeping you informed on the cutting edge, this is Localication.